I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for...
Hey, we're back again. Another Saturday, another last look at the last event of the year with all my guys. Let's go around here. Jeff, Mike, City Life Project. Hell yeah. You guys ready to get this cash?
Yeah, man. We were banging last week, so back by popular demand. Here we go. The fellas are ready to rock and roll. And this should be a lot of fun. This is a great card here, 296. I'm ready for it. We've been waiting for a nice little pay-per-view battle, the main event, kind of a toss-up. Leon Edwards and Coley Covington. As far as smack talking, though, there's only one guy that does it better, and that would be probably the former Muhammad Ali there. So let's get into the card, though, boys. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know Dylan's been kicking ass and taking names. Jeff, last night, coming off the stream, going 4-1 across the LFA. And now we got our new guest today, the City Life Project. What's going on, our guy?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. Glad to have you.
Well, let's deep dive, boys. Here we got UFC 296. Big card lined up, a few scratches, but, you know, it's Saturday, and this is the best thing about it is we kind of know what the fights are going to look like. The weigh-ins are complete. We've seen who struggled to cut weight. We see who might have missed the mark, and then we see these beasts, these athletes lined up head-to-head against each other to kind of make some final decisions there as well. So post, weigh-in conferences are complete as well, and we are ready to rock. And rock we shall, fellas. Here we got a big one to start this thing off. I'm excited about this opening fight. I'd love to see some heavyweights out there, tossing it around. And we've got certainly no limits when it comes to an opportunity to see some aggressive behavior right off the hop here. We've got Shamil Gassiv out there going against Martin Boudet, and 11-0 Shamil Gassiv sitting out there looking to go out and get his name and his reputation in the UFC here. Starting things off, coming out of Dana White's Contender Series just 2 months ago. And what we do have on the other side is a graduate of the Dana White Contender Series and has a nice little 4-win fight streak here, Dylan. Let's talk about this first fight. We'll give it to you to take it away first.
Well, first off, I think it'll be a sloppy heavyweight fight. I mean, these guys are not going to be the sluggers that we want. Heavyweight has kind of lost its touch that way for us a long time, but something that has opened up for me is the heavyweight overs. I mean, the books are onto it too. It's minus 200 for over 1.5. But I mean, I think this thing goes the whole distance. You can go over 2.5. Fight goes the distance. But I'm going to be on Shamil Gaziev too, a money line. It opened up really high. We went as high as plus 120, so I got in there, and now it's dropping.
I got him at plus 155, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, I saw those lines on like offshore books, and I was like, fuck, I can never get those crazy lines that I see everywhere. But as soon as it was open up to me, I jumped on them, and it's just going down even more. I don't know why people are loving Martin today. I don't see the love for Martin.
I slapped it 2 nights ago at plus 140. It dropped down to, I saw it again at plus 120. It's at plus 100 right now.
Yeah, it's just plummeting, I would say. Plummeting.
I think people actually just started doing their homework blindly, blindly getting off the bat. Yeah, I mean, heavyweight right now, it's like it's like the middleweight division. At the top, there's some good fighters, there's some good fights, there's some potential good fights, but then like down the rankings, it's just, oh my goodness, it
falls off pretty fast.
Yeah, exactly. So for this one, like I could either see like Shamil like just putting the pressure on early and pressuring him, and maybe looking for that Kimura that he's starting to fall in love with. But no, this one should just be a long, sluggish affair. And I just think Shamil has way more tools than that of Budai. Budai's story of like how he got into fighting is actually pretty cool, but he's just, I mean, I don't know. His last fight where he got the first round finish. I mean, hey, you crushed a very big cancer, but yeah, neither of these guys really impressed me too much. But Gaziev just has more tools, and I think his striking is coming together more and more each fight, where Budai's kind of reached his, I think, not even ceiling, but we've seen his floor.
He's been scraping by.
And we've seen his floor too, and it ain't good. It's like that basement, you don't want to dwell down there. So
big boys, big fighters here. Certainly love the number. We see the number moving with that dog, right? So now we're kind of down to that even money. I'll bet you by fight time, this thing's a nice little minus 115, minus 120. Definitely want to get it when it's hot, right?
It did open as a pick 'em, and then it shifted way the fuck up and then came back down again.
Yep. Dog it up, boys.
Dogs, it sounds like it's a unanimous dog spot here to kick the card up. I'll tell you what, I hope so. I love a card that starts off with some dog money off the hop, and hopefully we see that thing rolling on down the line. Next fight that we have coming up here, we got Andre Touchy-Feely going out there at 22-10, kind of one of those win one, lose one fighters out there against Lucas Almeida, who is coming off a loss himself 5 months ago. Pat Sabatini throws him in the arm triangle submission and looking to get his revenge here. Let's go with Jeff here. Start us off with this first one or this next fight.
I was talking with Dylan the other night there. I'm back and forth on this one. I'm actually leaning to Touchy-Feely, greatest name in the fucking fight game. I don't know. I don't have a lot on this one. I'm surprised Touchy's still at rank 26, just with his last couple of losses there. What is he? He's lost what, 5 of the last 7 or something like that.
Yeah, but like you've seen his fights though. Like he's not getting his ass beat. Like he's putting together a really good fight. Like people are still yelling bloody murder about the Nathaniel Wood fight, which I 100%. I've watched the fight 3 times. Nathaniel Wood won, but like Feely knocked him down. That was a great fight. The Bill Algier fight, again, people are like, oh, just split decision. It was still a great back and forth affair. Yeah, Brito knocked him out, but even before then, Bryce Mitchell and him went to a freaking decision. Like I'm actually really like Feely, and with me, like I watch Feely and like I don't even care if he wins or loses. I just usually bet the over because he's usually harder to put out. Him at the favorite here, I totally understand why, despite his opponent's record. He's just super tough, durable, good cardio, and again, in his fights that he loses the distance, he always looks good, and he wins rounds, right? Whereas Lucas Almeida, despite his record, despite him still like very well being in his prime right now at 32 years of age, and he has a lot of tools and power. Pat Sabatini caught him. Daniel Zellhuber, the young prospect that everyone was like, oh yeah, we're really excited to see this guy fight. Well,
was high on him, yeah.
He kind of plateaued after his first loss too, and Daniel, Zellhuber beat him. I don't want to say handedly, but beat him on Contender Series as well. So I think this is it's a good one. It could go either way. Like I'm not super confident, like laying too much money down on Feely, but I think 100% he could take this, especially if it goes the distance. That's
what I was going to say. Is I guess ultimately I would take Feely by decision. That's my pick on the Sports Pub radio show or the site there. But
hey, shout out to Sports Pub. I know a lot of good guys there. That's awesome, dude. On the hockey side and the fight side. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Pub Sports Radio. If you haven't done it yet, get out there and get online. Good guys. Get into the contest. Free contest to enter. Today's a big day for the contest, and should be a lot of fun here. Dylan, what are you thinking about this one? You like Andre Feely? I mean, he's definitely the better wrestler. Almeida doesn't like those stop takedowns. Almeida is certainly one of those ones that really has no takedown defense. So does this go to the mat?
Yeah.
Which is crazy because he's Brazilian and he was literally born with a gi. I don't know if you guys know this, but every Brazilian who comes out of the womb is in a gi and at least 2 stripes on their white belt. So it's kind of embarrassing. This guy doesn't know how to defend a takedown. Sorry.
He's got one guillotine choke back in Jungle Fight. I mean, ever since then, it's been all ground. I see this one standing, and probably if Andre Feely wants to go for a takedown, he could, but I don't think he will. I think this is going to be a striking matchup all around. So, I think I'm going to be on Lucas still. I took him at plus 140. I'm just taking a dog shot there, really, and maybe the under 2. So I think somebody could get finished.
Wouldn't mind seeing that. I think there's going to be some violence on this card here.
I think there's some violence all around. I mean, that's what they're setting it up for at the end of the year,
Yeah, they kind of give us the big one at the end here to keep everybody wanting to come back for more, right? The old
I don't think they're favoring a lot of people on this card. Usually you talk about who's the A side here, and sure, there's A sides in some fights, but really this is just violence, in my opinion, from the UFC. Not really an A side in some of these fights. And I think this is one of them. They don't care who wins. Just give me violence, and I think that's what the UFC wants too.
Even in the two women's fights, like they're set up to bang. They like knock on wood because it's women's MMA. Knock on wood. They should be good fights.
Absolutely.
Well, let's keep it rolling, boys. We got this next one here. We've got Tagir Ulambekov, if I said that one all right there, and then we've got Cody Durden. Tagir coming off of a big victory last year, a big submission opportunity, but does seem to be a guy that likes to go the distance, making his debut in the UFC 3 years back here. Bruno Silva decision. He got a decision out there 2 years back. It seems like he's at the annual once-a-year fight plan, but certainly these Russians, I have a general rule of thumb. I don't fade these Russians. On the other side of things here, when it comes to Cody Durden, just 3 weeks ago, picks up a big unanimous decision against Jake Hadley, 10-1 Jake Hadley, to move his record to 16-4. Let's start this one off with the City Life Project, baby. Let's go. Let's hear what you got.
I like the run that Durden is on. And he's obviously like an incredible wrestler. He's very, very good at controlling, especially in the distance and in close. He's got some good dirty boxing. It's the range game that scares me, and him getting too overzealous with his entries. And that's where, Tagir, his team, he's got a great team, right? He's got that whole Dagestani team behind him. He's from the same town as and team there as Makachev and all them. So they're incredible game planners. Though he's not as pure of a wrestler as some of those guys are, he actually has some decent striking. And I say he's not as pure of a wrestler there is because Tim Elliott, cheating aside, actually found an answer for him in the grappling, right? Again, despite his fingers going into his gloves there. So we found that he's not as sound in the wrestling as some of these other Dagestanis, but he's actually kind of closer to a hybrid, as his striking is actually pretty good at range. We don't see him do it too much, but if you go back and watch some of his regional fights, his striking is actually really good. And I think if he keeps Durden at range, it might force Durden to get a little sloppy, and that's where he'll find his mistake. So I totally understand why he's the favorite here, but I like Durden as the underdog. I didn't pull the trigger on it, not gonna lie. I still went with Ulambekov, but I think Durden definitely has the dog to get it done. It's just if his wires cross, I think that's where Ulambekov, or if he gets frustrated, will take advantage of that, because I've seen that in the past in some of his fights. Durden, great underdog, but I'm still going with Tagir.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if you got Don Cherry there in front of you talking in your ear, but
Yes, I do. The original based man of Canada.
I took Ulambekov on the money line. Actually, I was thinking for a cute play there, Ulambekov by decision. That was ranking it at plus 150. What was that, yesterday, 2 days ago? I like Ulambekov on this one. I think if Durden has a shot to win it, it's going to be in the first round by KO. But I also don't see that happen, and I think Ulambekov is going to take it to the mat. And again, think he's going to put him down, take it, ride it out. I went Ulambekov. I took him at minus 170. I don't know what the line's at now. I don't know if anyone's got it pulled up.
About the same at minus 165. I'm seeing now.
Okay, so it's going against him. But I took Ulambekov minus 170, and like I said, for a cute play, I like him by decision. Plus, that was plus 150. I don't know what it's at now.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. I liked Cody Durden early too. I liked a lot of dogs on this card, but then I had to, rein it in and say, just bet on 8 to 10 dogs. So, you got to pick one here. And Cody didn't make the list to cut for a dog. I think they're both about the same, but Tagir's just that little bit better, a little bit more grindier. And like you said, if, Cody starts making a lot of mistakes and gets sloppy, Tagir is going to pick up on that. So it's going to be the first leg of a parlay I have, Tagir Ulambekov. That's the way I'm going to play him on the money line.
Mike, what do you got?
I was looking at this one. I was thinking about the dog with you guys. I want to go on the dog side here. I do want to take some more dogs on this card than not, but I just don't know. Like I said, I have a general philosophy. I do not like to fade the Russian fighters. And, I just think in a spot like this one here where we've got, Cody Durden coming in here, big name there, kind of making his up and coming career. But at 16-4, I think Tagir is the guy to get the job done here. I don't like the price behind it, but I would think that, we take a Tagir decision opportunity on this one here. I think we see the cards Contrary, if you look at the history and the background with Tagir, he's a decision guy. He's gone the distance a couple times in his career, and then on the same thing on the other side of things. So I think, in terms of this fight and what's at stake for these guys here, I think we see the full 15, and I think we see a Tagir decision, and that's going to give us a little plus money spot. So that's going to be the spot that I lock down out there. Shout out to everybody that's hanging out in the chat with us this afternoon.
Heyo.
I was just about to do the same thing, Mike.
I see our guy Jimmy Gomez in the chat. What up, Jimmy Gomez? Big Scott 510 says Tagir might have some infection on his back. Ugh, that doesn't sound good. That's an interesting insight.
Hey, everyone's fighting with staph these days, so doesn't surprise me.
You're not
Girl was
cool,
leaking out her ass in one of the fights too. Disgusting. Sorry, guys.
Nate, Mr.
You guys invited me on the show. You knew what you were getting yourselves into.
No, we're good.
Nasty Nate says, "What's the Vikings prop here?" I think we see a Hawkinson yardage and touchdown game there out of.
Hey, go Vikes! Go Vikes!
Go Vikes! And Nasty Nate says he likes Boudet by decision or by knockout. I'm sorry. EQ says they're making Gasayev a dog because of his cardio, but the guy had a full camp. Picks from Dave's out there, rocking, representing, says finally professional. Big Scott likes Boudet wins via a belly suffocation.
Not a bad move.
That might be the first that we'll see out there for this opportunity. And then, of course, our guy first in here to make a comment for us, Fleet Mathis, says, greeting nerds and virgins.
Greeting nerds and virgins.
Big Scott likes this. Cody brought it up, and then after the weigh-in, he instantly put his shirt on so nobody would see it. That's interesting. That's an interesting look. I didn't know that either. But maybe that's just something. Maybe that's a mind trick. Like when the guys don't shower, so they stink real good when they go out there and fight against their opponents. But speaking of not showering, let's take a look at this next fight here. We're still on the prelim card, and what we have here, Casey King O'Neill coming off of her most recent loss, her first loss of her career to Jennifer Maia by a decision, going out there against Ariana Lipski, Queen of Violence. You got to earn your nicknames in the UFC, and it looks like she is trying to do just that. Did come off a decision as well, typical what we see with these ladies fights, but she does have a knockout loss in her career. So if she's not going to the decision, she's laying on her back, getting knocked out, boys. Dylan, start with you here. Let's go. Let's talk about this one.
Oh, it's one of my favorite fights on the card. It's one of my favorite fighters to fade is Casey O'Neill. So, and something I just traditionally do is really just take the dogs in the women's fights. And this one's really saying I could take the dog. So, plus 165 on Ariana Lipski. Casey O'Neill's never really impressed me too much with her striking. She might be a little bit crisper and faster than Ariana, but I think Ariana's tougher. And when Casey O'Neill gets, hit a little bit, she doesn't want to play anymore. So.
Dylan, I was much like I always say, ladies fights, they always tend to go over, but Lipski's lost the last three fights, the last three losses she's had anyways, by KO, which I was a little surprised by that. I went O'Neill on this one. I don't like the price. I couldn't find a way to play it, I guess. Knowing it's the women's fights, I like the over, so I'm leaning O'Neill by decision.
Ooh.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think O'Neill by decision. No, she's a volume striker. She doesn't have and she doesn't. And how do my chat say this? She doesn't have that much pop behind her shots, right? She'll hit a woman and go, okay. Now I know your power. And then Casey, like you said, she's very fast but very much a volume striker. And I feel like sometimes she just throws for the sake of throwing, right? And we see that more and more in the UFC and just in any MMA organization that judges like activity, right? Whereas Lipski's very much more, I'm going to look for that kill shot. She does have that power, a little bit of Muay Thai background. I think the lines are where they should be right now. Lipski likes to get into more firefights where Casey O'Neill's more of a tactician. I think though, if this doesn't go the distance, it's probably going to be Lipski. This is one of those things where Lipski's going to hit harder. She's probably going to do more damage. O'Neill's going to land more strikes. I don't see this going to the ground.
I think O'Neill's going to overwhelm her with the volume that's coming out.
Yeah, no, you're very well correct there. For me though, and I just stay away from betting on women's MMA because I get burned so much. And again, this is not any disrespect. It's just it is a coin flip. There's some women who one are so hard to read and make picks for because one fight takes the night off. The next fight, absolutely dominant. And we see like, you know, kind of like Casey O'Neal's like her career up until her last loss there, right? And now Jennifer Maia is a step up in competition compared to what the competition that she's faced, but still, so it's tough for me unless I've been following them like for a while, like through the regionals, and know like their tendencies and know, oh, okay, you're facing this type of matchup, maybe you'll suffer in this areas, right? So I didn't lay a single dime on this one, but my official pick was Lipski as well, boys.
Hey.
Yeah, I hard not to go with that. I mean, it seems like the opportunity and a nice little plus money spot as well. So, you know, the difficulty is that we're going to see at some point, we're going to start seeing these women figure out how to knock each other out. And you know, Lipski's not afraid to get knocked out.
No more USADA. No more USADA.
Let's go. Let's keep it rolling, fellas. We got this next one here. We got No Love. Cody Garbrandt versus,
I think we may have passed one, Mike.
Did I miss one?
Dustin
Murfield Jacoby.
Oh my God. Oh, my order's a little off here with the folks over at Tapology here. We got Alonzo Menafield, Dustin Jacoby is the next one you guys are seeing, huh? Okay. Well, let's dive in. Let's get into this thing here. Alonzo Menafield, 14-3-1 here. And you know, really don't see draws very often, but you know, Atomic Alonzo Menafield does have a draw in his most recent arsenal of fights there against Jimmy Crute, a big draw opportunity. Was that the I can't remember if that one had a medical element to it or not, but it does look like
there was some fuckery that happened there that made it a draw. I can't remember exactly.
And then in the rematch, he did handle Jimmy Crute by submission. So interesting spot there with Dustin Jacoby on the other side of things here, getting a big knockout in his career just 4 months ago. Let's start out with City Life Project. Take it away for us.
God, I love Dustin Jacoby, dude. And Factory X guys are on a tear right now. Mm-hmm. Second run in the UFC for Jacoby, and he's absolutely killing it. I think he's a criminally underrated light heavyweight. Upon going to Glory, having a really, really good run there as well. Like, he's such a nasty kickboxer. Yeah, he's definitely really worked on his takedown defense. Now, has he, and my chat's pointed this out, they're like, yeah, you should. I know you love the kickboxers, but like, have you seen him fight a guy who's a way more capable wrestler? And to that I said no, but again, in MMA, this is MMA, and he's fought guys who tried to employ that with him to shut down his kickboxing, and they haven't been able to take him to the ground. Like, sure, maybe it's just simple, wrestling defense, but if it works for him, because he's freaking huge, man. He even towered over Menafield, who's like, is a big boy at light heavyweight as well. He had a great win against Nchukwi. Lost the decision to Azima Mirzakhanov. Mirzakhanov, again, more volume. This is kind of like the last fight we were talking about with the Lipski and O'Neal. Mirzakhanov outstruck him in volume. You watch that fight again, Jacoby, he landed some nasty, nasty strikes. Khalil Roundtree, when I watched that fight live, I thought Khalil did enough to squeak that in. I watched that fight 2 more times. Dude, Jacoby won that fight. Jacoby should have won that fight. And then look at the run he was on before with both the UFC and Glory. I just think he's very, very sound. He knows, like, he plays to his strengths and really defends his weaknesses, which is, getting taken to the ground. I don't know if he's that good at getting back up to his feet as that of, like, the anomaly that is Derek Lewis, for example, but he's good at keeping the fight on his feet. Alonzo Menafield is, like, he's scary though. He's got that power, but just like, look at who Jacoby has fought in Glory, man. You think he's scared of a big boy? He's fought big boys before. And look, no disrespect to Alonzo Menafield, I think he's actually a little bit like underrated too, just because I don't think people his fights aren't super, super memorable as of late compared to that of a Jacoby, in my opinion. But I was saying in my chat, and I'm sorry to anyone who's a big Menafield fan, but the dude lost to William Knight, so it just ends there. I don't care if you beat Chikrunov after. I don't care if you beat Jimmy Crute. Dude, you lost to William Knight. I am never picking you to win a fight again. You lost to fucking William Knight, dude. It's like, it's done.
Agreed. I'll tell you what, I'm leaning Jacoby on this one, and I can't get cute with it. I'm thinking Jacoby KO round 2.
Hell yeah.
2 or 3 is actually what I've written down here on my notes too. So Alonzo, he could get the KO, but in round 1, he's a round.
Yeah. If he's gonna win it, it's in the first. But I don't see that happening.
On round 1 or bust fighters, and even if he does, so be it. I lose my bet because he got knocked out in the first round. But Dustin knows that too. He's gonna play it smart, stay away from that. And he's gonna be the second leg of my parlay also with the Tagir Ulanbekov. Dustin Jacoby is the second leg there. So
I like it.
I have a third leg to add to it too later, but we'll get to that. And then round 2 and 3, I think I'm going to sprinkle on Jacoby as well for the finish.
Yeah, Jacoby round 2 KO, fight ends by KO, inside the distance. I think those are all solid plays.
So, I mean, he's not going to sub him, so I might as well take some more money on the add the KO round 2 in there.
That is accurate. He's not going to sub him.
He's just so fun to watch. Like, win or lose, Jacoby is awesome. Like, I don't know if you guys watch a lot of Glory. I'm a huge Glory kickboxing guy, and like, he was an absolute treat, win or lose, to watch in that. And then I was so stoked to see that he was actually able to have another run in the UFC and really focus on his, the MMA side of things, not just the striking.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are really high on him coming into the UFC, and I still like him too. Some people
I don't hate Mennefield. I root for him. But man, you lost to William Knight. He can't even win on CES, for God's sakes.
Yeah, no, that's not impressive at all. And he scrapes by too. So yeah, Alonzo Mennefields. I wanted to take him. It shot up. He was plus 135, 200, 250. So of course it had me thinking, but I was like, no, hold on, don't be crazy with it.
Exactly. That's why plus whatever it is right now for me is plus 220. Like that's good value. I still might sprinkle on him, but like I'm confident Jacoby's gonna take it.
Great.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I like that as well here. But it looks like we do have the order, the Tapology order is on point here. We got Cody Garbrandt as the next fight here. Brian Kelleher. This is going to be at 8:45 Eastern. And what a strange one here, because you look across the record, at least the most recent fights here, a 13-5 fighter, but just 1-2 in Cody Garbrandt. And then on the other side of things with Brian Kelleher coming off of back-to-back losses, Jeff, why don't you kick us off with this one?
Garbrandt trains with Team Alpha Male, which to me means that this fight's going to the mat in general. I don't know. I took a small play on Garbrandt by decision. Again, just based on the Team Alpha Male, they like to wrestle. They like to do their thing. I don't know. It's slight height and reach advantage there for Garbrandt, I believe. I guess I've written here in my notes, but
he's got 2 inches of reach.
Yeah. So I don't know, but again, I don't think that's going to play much of a factor. I think Garbrandt's going to take him down to the mat right away. Ultimately, we'll see what happens.
Just feels like in a spot where we see a lot of losses on these guys' careers and these records here. Yeah, we have the older fighter in Brian Kelleher, 37 years old. He's got about 5, almost 6 years on, Cody Garbrandt, but when we see that magical number around 7, we see that younger fighter does have the decided advantage. Now, this isn't quite there, and I think that's probably why he's priced as a slight favorite there at the around minus 190 or so. It's going to be a tricky one, though. I could coin flip this one. I could see it going either way, boys. I'm not entirely sure on one side or the other. I think we see it do go, in the long hauls here. I think the over 2.5 is probably going to be the way that I get to the card with this one, because I just don't. Yeah, Nasty Nate says it. Cody's a striker. I just don't know that we see. I don't know that we see enough out of one side or the other. I think what happens is they gas out early and they just kind of go through this thing for the next, 10 minutes.
That's what I was saying. I think it's going to go to the mat, and I think it's just going to be a hugging fest out there.
Yeah,
I think. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, it's really. I think it's going back to what I said earlier. That it's not really an A side here. Just one fight ago, they were trying to feed Cody Garbrandt to Mario Bautista, and they were trying to feed Brian Kelleher to Mario Bautista to Umar Nurmagomedov, or the other one, excuse me. But yeah, Umar. So yeah, I don't think they're interested in either guy. I think it's a 50-50 fight here, and I think Garbrandt's just kind of like lost his touch, in my opinion. Even in that Trevin Jones fight. I bet on Cody. I bet on Cody by decision there, but he just was starting to act like a fucking idiot again. And I think if he plays games against Brian Kelleher, he might get fucked up. So I took Brian Kelleher at plus 165 early.
I loved watching Brian Kelleher like 4 or 5 years ago. Like, I swear he was like a staple in the division for a while. Like, never a guy who you're like, oh, he's gonna win the title, but a guy who you're like, hey, he could potentially go on a run and get get in the top like 10, get in the top 5 maybe, because he just had that like. He put on such exciting fights. Like, I love his like boom. Like, when he enters the cage, it's like, okay, let's go. But injuries, man. Hasn't he had like 3 surgeries in the last 5 years or something like that too? I know he's had back issues. I know his knees.
Neck surgery.
Neck surgery. So that's the thing. Like, he's just like he's just almost done, right? Like if this was 3 years ago, even against the Cody Garbrandt of like 3 years ago, man, what a fight. Like, could you end both these guys in their prime? What a fight. It would be electric. For me, Cody, we all know about his glass chin. It's evident at this point. I think, Jeff, you're on to something here, and I'll tell you why. And this is like, I don't have any sources or anything. I just, through the MMA community, there's people who know other people. And from what I've heard, Cody, obviously he went through a divorce recently. He's very much involved in his kid's life. And I've just heard that he needs a little bit more money coming in here. Not that he's hurting, but like he just has a little bit more motivation, which is his son, his family, his kind of turning the page, his new, I think he's like full-time in Vegas now or whatever. And that he's very dialed. People have been training with him and said that he's very dialed and that he might be looking to win this fight 100% versus put on a show like he used to do as well. So I think, Jeff, we might see an unorthodox Cody Garbrandt here really try to secure a win versus go out there and, put on a show, shuffling the gamesmanship. If his wires cross like the old No Love, then yeah, they're going to get into a scrap.
That's what I thought in his last fight too. That Trevor
exactly
that. He had a good game plan, and then he started acting like a fucking fool.
Exactly.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I just think Kelleher is a little bit more weathered than him, and Cody still has the powers. Ask Chuck Liddell. The power is the last thing to go, right? Your chin will go first, but your power is still there. So I think sound or not, if it gets into a firefight, I think Cody still will probably land the kill shot. And if Cody actually smarts fight, I just think Kelleher is a little too weathered. I think the UFC was. I honestly thought the UFC was going to give him a step up and be like, all right, you want your run again? Here you go. But no disrespect to Brian Kelleher. I think the UFC's kind of hoping that Garbrandt takes this one and they can push him a little bit more because win or lose, he still brings eyes to the sport.
Oh yeah.
And again, trying to protect his chin. Team Alpha Male, he's going to take this to the mat.
Well, he was a college wrestler, right? Like that was his base. Yep. He just fell in love with his hands and then put on a clinic against Cruz and was like, "I'm God, motherfuckers."
Yeah.
Yep. Garbrandt by decision.
There we go. Well, let's go. We've got this next one on deck here. It's going to be a ladies' fight for us. Irene Aldana versus Carol Hossa. 14-7 Irene Aldana. And again, coming off of a recent unanimous decision loss. On the other side of things, Carol Hossa, big winner there, split decision win in her most recent fight as well. Dylan, kick us off.
Another women's fight to kick us off. I really want to take the dog here too. Again at plus 160, but there's always a case to be made for it. I mean, Irene Aldana, she's lost to the best. She's, the higher level, more experienced fighter, but she's also getting up there in age too. So I can't really get behind that either. At 35 years old, maybe not too bad for the women's division, but I know Carol Rosa, she's coming up. She's a big, strong body. What she's going to do in these classic women's fights, push her up against the cage, all that kind of female fuckery. And, I think this one goes the distance, and I'm going to take the dog again in Carol Rosa.
So Dylan, I do agree with you. I like Rosa. I think she's up and coming. I think she's gonna actually do pretty well in her career. I actually like Aldana on this one. I think, again, 35 years old, she's ranked top 5. I think she's looking at her last shot for a title shot. So I mentioned it last night. You don't see a lot of these women fighting into their 40s. So I think this is her last shot at it. I think she's more well-rounded, I guess, than Rosa at this point. So I'm going with Aldana. I don't necessarily like the number.
Yeah.
So I actually I'm thinking Aldana, chicks fight by decision. I guess I don't know what that number is. I haven't looked at it yet, but that's where I'm leaning.
I'm surprised this one's not like almost dead even, to be perfectly honest, boys. I think Aldana coming off the title shot, like that the title of coming off the title shot is working in her favor here for making her the favorite. And that's no disrespect. I just think that this is a good good matchup by the matchmakers. Like this one, outcome aside, like it could be a boring fight, like you said, up against the cage. Rosa could just drag this into like, a slug or just like a fest up against the cage. But
oh,
he froze up on us.
Right on the caveat, but
sorry about that, boys. Sorry about that.
You're good.
I just think it's a good matchup by the UFC as far as like this is a good level. This is a great test for Aldana to fight against, again, one of the up and comers. And it's crazy that Rosa's only 28, guys, because I have her resume up here. I've been watching her actually fight for a long time, and you see some of the names on her resume. Like we talk about Aldana having the experience. Like I totally agree at the highest level, but you look at who Rosa's fought at the region. She's fought Jessica Andrade on the regional. She fought Giselle Moreira on the regional. She fought Larissa Pacheco on the regionals too. Before she even got to the UFC. And honestly, she's gone to the UFC and beaten lesser opponents in the division, whereas like you said, Aldana's actually fought a lot better competition. I think Aldana just quite simply outstrikes her. Even if it's up against the cage, Aldana's bigger, she's lankier. I feel like she's gonna find those elbows. I'd be absolutely like flabbergasted if her camp did not like work that into her game. Be like, this chick's gonna get you up against the cage, work those elbows, you're rangy, you could push her up against her face and step back with those. So I think honestly that Muay Thai, that clinch fighting is gonna work in her favor because of her size and her strength. But Rosa's the real deal, man. I stayed away from this one, especially with how the lines shook out there. I'm not dropping anything on this one. Rosa, again, a very good underdog in this matchup, but I officially picked Aldana to win just because I think if this goes the distance, she's going to maybe cut her. She's going to do more damage, visible damage too.
You think there's going to be a cut in a chicks fight?
I think Aldana, again, up against the cage. If she employs those, she should phone me for her next camp against someone like this if she doesn't throw elbows. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's a good way to get away from the clinch and step away too.
Well, because she's just so big and strong and lanky that like she could just like step back, land one, and get right in close without like giving up any position. Because
you make them start thinking about it too. They don't want to try that again and again. If you keep fucking hitting them in the head over and over, they don't want that.
Yeah, that's just what I think. She has to make it like a nasty close range fight if Carlos is going to play that game, because we know if they're just going to straight up box, Aldana's going to destroy her.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep it rolling, fellas. We got Josh Emmett. We got Bryce Mitchell coming up here next. We got Thug Nasty. I love the name Thug Nasty. I'm not sure what it is about that guy that gets me fired up. But
have you
heard his rap album?
Yeah, that's his rap.
Yeah. Fire. Oh, dude, Thug Nasty on YouTube. Yeah. Check it out, dude.
Arkansas.
I'll have to go look on the other side of things. He's got Josh Emmett. Again, another situation. I think you guys are right. When you start looking at this fight and breaking this card down, you start to see that they just want violence here. We got another team alpha male back here coming off of 2 losses. Flip side with Bryce Mitchell. Decision after the submission got submitted by Ilya Taporia. So let's start with Jeff on this one. Jeff, give us a takeoff.
Yeah, all right. I'm going with Mitchell on this one. He took this fight. Dylan, you and I were talking about the other night. He took this fight on short notice. Well, I guess I don't know how short of notice he took it on, but
2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks.
A couple weeks.
Okay, yeah. Emmett's 38. I think he's on the tail end of his career. I don't know. He's what, 4 or 5 inches shorter. I think that I think Mitchell's a young buck. He's looking to get himself in the top 5, looking for a title shot. I think this is his mark here to set. I don't see a knockout in this one. I think it's going to go the distance, but yeah, I'm taking Mitchell. I guess I don't know what his number's at right now. He was minus 235. I don't like that. I was thinking, again, like I said, it's probably going to go to the distance. I like Mitchell by decision, but I haven't locked it in yet.
Yeah. Yeah, like when we were talking the other day, I liked Bryce Mitchell by decision too, but the problem for me on those props is it's only plus 125. I typically don't like the plus 100s. They're just over it. But that being said, another path to victory for him, obviously, is his submission. He's got 9 submissions, I believe.
He's good.
You can get a sub really plus 300. So, and then Josh Emmett on the other side, he's never really been the best grappler. So I think Bryce Mitchell
plus 300
sub is a really good look.
Dude, smash that, dude.
That's what I said too. It's why it's plus 300.
Man.
Bryce by sub, that's his path to victory, and it's plus 300.
Like Emmett's a wrestler, but don't like he's not a defensive wrestler. You know what I mean? Like offensive grappling, and just college wrestling background are very, very different, right? And I think Thug Nasty's proven that like he can out-grapple those who have a good base anyways. Again, I'm not saying that like it's gonna end in submission, but if it's plus 300, man, like drop a couple bucks on that. Like, come on.
Well, let me ask this: has Emmett? I don't have Tapology pulled up in front of me, but has Emmett ever been submitted?
Yair, triangle choke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
2 fights ago, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
You know what? I wrote that down when you boys started talking about the sub factor there for Mitchell. So Thug Nasty. Now I got 2 things I got to do. I got to go look at this guy's YouTube rap.
And then, the sub, and then he's also going to be leg 3 of that parlay was Tagir, Dustin Jacoby, and then Bryce Mitchell on there too. But the most confident ones were Tagir. So the first 2 leggers, Tagir and Bryce. And then the 3rd leg to add on is Dustin Jacoby. And then there's a 4th leg we're going to get to also.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Let's go. Let's keep it rolling. What
boy. The fight of the night.
Fight of the night.
The one everybody wants to talk about, and Tony Ferguson and Patty.
Oh, my
of
God.
course. Why wouldn't we hear?
Oh,
Tony
my God.
Ferguson,
It just makes me sad, guys. I don't know about you, but like I was the biggest BJ Penn fan. I was the biggest Anderson Silva fan. And though Silva's decline wasn't as egregious as he was still competitive in his fights, man, watching BJ was one of the saddest. Like, he was one of my as far as in his cage, not his antics outside the cage. He was like one of my heroes as a kid. Like I was into I did martial arts when I was a kid, and I was doing point fighting competitions, and like BJ was my fucking guy, dude. And watching him go down was so sad. And it's the exact same feeling watching Tony right now. And it's just, I just have a pit in my stomach whenever I see him on a fight card these days.
That's Frankie Edgar for me recently.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Frankie, man. What a legend. What a legend.
Tony became the punching bag of the league. I don't know. It's sad. It is sad to see.
I don't know what they did to our boy, but
Gaethje, man. Gaethje destroyed his brain.
That fucking meme with the kick.
Oh yeah. You know what's crazy though is he looked good in that first one. That's what I said in my notes here. Is like, and I've said this with every Tony fight after Chandler. I was like, if the Tony in that first round shows up, he can win the fight. He looked like old Tony in that. He was landing those elbows. He rocked Chandler.
And that Michael Chandler fight, yeah. I was like, my best bet of the night was over 1.5 rounds there.
Oh my God, dude. But he looked good, and that's what I've been saying. If that Tony shows up, he can beat Patty on the feet. But I think as much as people like to rip on Patty, and yeah, you got a robbery against Jared Gordon, he fought that fight with a broken foot after the first round. You got to give him some credit for that, even if he lost the fight on, and we all know in the eyes of the eyes of the fans, he lost that fight. Yeah. His jiu-jitsu is next level. Like, he is a very, very good grappler. And I don't know what has happened to Tony's wrestling. I think it's just age. His back's he's just not as explosive. Because like, it wasn't like he found like a very like traditional wrestling and sound technical way of getting back up to his feet back in the day when he was taken down. He would just kind of like blitz back up. I just think like father time, back issues, knees issues. He doesn't have that explosiveness anymore. And once he gets to the ground, it's just like old man labor trying to get back up to his feet. And I mean, Bobby Green kept him down there, man. And I love Bobby Green, but like, if you're aggressive to the point where Bobby Green's out wrestling you, and
let's keep in mind, Tony hasn't won a fight since 2019. I mean, fuck, pre-COVID.
He hasn't looked good. He
definitely hasn't looked good. As much as I want Tony to win this one, I'm leaning Patty on this one. I think he's going to sub him. I think this one's going to. I think this is going to end inside the distance, in my opinion.
Yep. I think
not to mention the UFC wants Patty to fucking excel. And
I was gonna say there's not too many A sides here, but then once you get into the main card, there's definitely some A sides.
Main event of the evening.
Tony, you know what?
Tony's Patty's stepping stone from I beat a fucking legend.
Yeah.
I don't think Tony's gonna retire after this one as much as I think.
Boys, I'm pissed that they didn't give Patty Barbosa, because that's like the real, like, you get a big name and he's still like ripping it up. The fact that they gave him Tony, it's like they gave him like, and again, no disrespect to Tony, I'm the biggest Tony Ferguson fan either, but given where he's at his career now, they gave Patty the Wish version of Barbosa so he could still build his name, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Yep, Patty by submission.
Well, let's go. Let's talk about this next one here. We've got Shavkat Rachmanov, Nomad. going out there against Stephen Wonder Boy Thompson. And clearly, I think the up-and-comer, or I shouldn't even say up-and-comer because he's the number 4 welterweight
he's established now, yeah.
Yeah, so he's plenty established here. Out of Kazakhstan, I mean, another country that I don't like to mess with when it comes to my UFC fighters here.
Yep.
Dude, even with hockey now, the World Juniors are right around the corner with Russia and obviously Belarus not being able to compete in international play for the IHF. Kazakhstan, they actually have been able to almost win a game in that tournament. And it's cool to see that their program is growing there too for junior hockey. So shout out to them with the World Juniors just around the corner. I think they've actually, because Austria was kicked last year, I think they're in it. So just tremendous athletes in all sports.
Yeah, if they don't win, they come out with their suicide vests. So,
jeez.
Oh yeah. Actually,
shout out country? I thought that was Iran. I can say that because I'm Persian. Just saying.
There's a big shout out to Kazakhstan today because for anybody that probably doesn't know, I didn't either, but it's Independence Day. So, I mean, why would they not put this fucking guy in a spot to win on Kazakhstan Independence Day for the Kazakhstan fans? I mean, it's Shavkat all day, and he's the 4th leg of the parlay inside the distance at -200. Thank you, fucking.
I like the inside.
This one makes me sad too. Shout out to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, the nicest motherfucker, and everybody loves him. And it's not because I hate him; it's because the UFC put him up as a lamb for a slaughter. So fuck the UFC for that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, he's the biggest fave on the card, I think, too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's minus 650, maybe even 700 now.
yeah, right. Yeah. I think I actually put this one out the other day. Was it yesterday? As one of my locks. I like Rachmanov by decision. I agree. I'm sorry by submission.
Okay, I was like, holy shit.
No, I mean, he's won half his fights by submission. I don't know. He's again up and coming. He's obviously established himself. I think in the next 6 months or so, we're gonna see him holding the championship belt.
Oh yeah. What I love about this matchup, boys, is that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, what a fucking G and a G, right? This guy, I love how he said that he was offered this fight 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and he said I respectfully declined it, not because I'm scared, where the rest of the division was scared to fight this guy and was turning him down, all the ranked guys. He said he just felt that he didn't deserve me yet. I'm a name. I've been in the UFC for this long. I've been able to keep my ranking for this long. He needs to beat a couple more guys to prove that he can face me. And then this week he said, he proved it. And so I took the fight, and I'm not scared like the rest of the division. I just, I have honor. And Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is such a genuine guy that he doesn't really trash talk or anything. And that's why I was like, you know what? I respect you for that, man. I respect you for respecting your legacy. But when you turn down the fight in the first time, and now being able, I'll step up where all these, cowards won't, because this guy's deserved it. And I think this is going to be fun. I do think Rachmanov is kind of going to go the ways of he did with Jeff Neal and throw a little caution to the wind here and be like, all right, I'm fighting Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I'm fighting a striker. Let's see what I got against the karate master here. And if Stephen lands a couple good shots, in and out in the distance, Shavkat's probably just gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna blitz and just take this guy to the ground and ground and pound and end this thing. And submission's good because how he usually gets his submissions is rocking his opponent and then just chasing him to the ground with pressure, right? So I kind of feel like that's gonna be the same. I hope that we see, at least 2-3 minutes of a good striking affair before Rachmanov really takes us over.
I like that I misspoke and said by decision. You guys are like, whoa.
No, I was going to let you finish your thought there, then we'd get to it. You never want to cut somebody off and tell them they're wrong. All right,
I kind of just want to sprinkle on that now. I kind of just want to sprinkle on that now and give Jeff credit when it goes to this.
Well, wait, I'm not locking that one though.
Well, we got 2 fights left, boys, and they are bangers. We've got the UFC Flyweight Championship
fight of the night, guys. Fight of the night. 100%.
I'm of the same thought process here. We have Alejandro Pantoja, the cannibal, going out there against Brandon Royval, the raw dog himself. Number 5. It's a banger. It should be a bloodbath here. We got the champion coming out here. Did take a split decision in his most recent at-go 4 months ago, but looking to defend the belt out there against really kind of looks like a Finnish artist here in his last couple of fights with Brandon Royval. And kind of anything goes when you get a Brandon Royval fight going out there. Factory X Muay Thai fighter versus America top team. The names, ranks, the battle, everything looks to be a great fight here, boys. Let's get into it. Jeff, start.
Let me just say, Raw Dog rivals Touchy Feely's name.
You just got raw dogged, bitch. Like
this one with the championship rounds, I expect it to be a little bit of a slower start. Trying to feel each other out. I do like that Pantoja trains at American Top Team. I think he's a more rounded fighter. I don't know. I'm leaning Pantoja on this one. I wouldn't be surprised if he subs him at some point in this fight. I think I'm going to end up taking the under 4.5. Again, as I think it's going to be a slow start. I could see this fight ending one of the bets round 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I think the championship rounds definitely come into play with this thing here. I think no
Agreed.
question about it. He wants to go into the depths to potentially gas out Brandon Royval, but I don't think that's going to be an easy task. I think
Royval doesn't gas though easily. Right. That's the thing, right? He's up in elevation. He trains in Colorado. He runs like fucking 5 to 8 miles every day for warm up. Like it's his chin. It's because he'll leave his hands down and take one and then throw something crazy. So that's what scares me a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's either in my opinion, it's either the Pantoja gets a submission off of him, or we see this thing go to the depths, boys, and that should be fun. I think that in itself. Not knowing how this one can break down and get there is fun in itself, but I don't think we see the belt change in this case here. Brandon Royval, as notable and noteworthy as he is, I don't know that he gets the job done here.
Yeah, I see this going. I see this going two ways. I see Pantoja doing kind of what, like taking this fight into hell, like what he did with Moreno, making it just super hard for Royval, being like, hey, you want to strike? Let's strike. I'll go head to head with you. You want to wrestle? Let's wrestle. I'll grapple you. The path to victory for Royval, for me, because he has the cardio, right? He has to stay disciplined. He said in his last fight too, he had a really good first round, then he blitzed in the second, and Pantoja caught him, right? Royval, he's dangerous. He's got elbows. He's got good power. He can take a shot to give one. But Pantoja, like you said, he is so well-rounded. He truly is great everywhere, right? And same with Moreno, and that's why that fight was so good. Royval, for me, this comes down to that Factory X like friggin' gospel. This is his path to victory. If he wins, it's because he's going to rip the hell out of Pantoja's legs on the outside. That's the Factory X way, right? That's the fact, and that's going to negate his Pantoja's ability to hold him up against the cage, blast those double or single legs. So I think Royval, there's a game plan here because Pantoja doesn't blitz too much. Right? He's patient. He lets you dictate where it is, and then beats you at your own game. If Royval right away starts attacking his lead leg, I'm going to be salivating, and I'm going to have my eyes right up against the screen, going, okay. There's more strategy to this than this is just going to be a war. But having said that, if I don't see him start blasting leg kicks, I'm in agreement with all of you. Pantoja just is the better fighter, and I think could beat Royval in whatever area this goes. Striking, grappling, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I see a couple guys in the chat saying that belts are going to change tonight here. Big Scott says both belts changing tonight. Revenge factor is real in the UFC. And Damon Santori says Dylan needs no shirt. So what an interesting way to bring us into the main event here, boys. It is the turkey at the Thanksgiving table there, the big centerpiece everyone wants to talk about here. Leon Edwards.
Actually, have something quick on that co-main event. As Jeff said there, he likes this fight to end in 3, 4, 5. I have a place to bet on that myself, actually. I think it's plus 600, 800, and 1,200 for round 3, 4, and 5. And then I want Royval. I want him to win because I did place a future ticket on him to be the belt holder at plus 1,400.
Nice.
That pays a little bit more than the Pantoja ticket at plus 9. So
absolutely,
let's go, Brandon Royval.
No, he's good. He's fun to watch. So this is a good.
That's going to be a good fight.
Yeah. But I did want to take both sides. That's why I just took the fight ends in 3, 4, 5. Doesn't matter who wins.
Nice. Good call.
I like that move.
Good call.
Just get there, try to get that cash, and just hope for a good fight. And then last but not least, boys, here we made it through the card. We're at Leon Rocky Edwards, the champion in the division out there against Colby Covington. Chaos, and chaos was caused at the pre-fight press conference there. If you missed it, it's definitely worth a go watch there. They were kind of bantering. We know Colby Covington likes to talk shit anyways. And what does he do out there? But he says he's going to bring Leon to hell, and he's going to see his father or something to that effect out there. And it got Leon Edwards to chuck the water bottle over, and things got real at that point. So what a way to cap off the card in a pay-per-view event tonight. And City Life Project, we'll start with you, Show. What's going on, man? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm so excited for this fight. I've been excited for this fight ever since it was hinted that it was going to go down. And I was just waiting. I was like, how Colby's going to try to get under his skin, because Leon, like, it's no secret that Leon's wires cross outside the cage, right? Like Masvidal's got under his skin, Till's got it, like even guys who he's not fighting have got under his skin, and we see his wires cross all the time. It hasn't reflected in the cage yet. Now this is very personal, and he said it, but I think once it gets in the cage, Leon is very much a tactician, very much like, well, he won't necessarily see red unless he lands a big shot, and then he'll start being like, oh, okay, now I'm going to beat up this guy. But man, this one, it was tough for me to make an official pick until like a couple days ago. But I am officially going with the Leon Edwards, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's only going to be Leon Edwards if it's a finish. I'm not necessarily in that camp. Like, obviously, if the fight finishes, it's probably Leon Edwards, because I highly doubt Colby's knocking this guy out. Again, no disrespect to Colby, he just never had that power. As a maybe at 155 he'd be knocking out people, right? But at 170 is very much his natural weight class compared to some of those bigger guys. He just never had that power. And again, like, I am not a Colby hater. I want to make that very clear. Do I agree with everything he said? Would I go about it the same way if I was him? No, but would I sell fights and make a character out of myself? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, hey, respect to how he made his name and recognized to go down that path. And for his fighting style, he drags you into deep waters, nonstop pressure. A lot of people, it's crazy that I find a lot of the MMA community who hate that style, and who I have to always remind, guys, if you don't want to watch MMA, there's one championship Muay Thai. Just go watch that and shut up. They're the ones who are fans of him. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This is an anomaly here. The thing about Edwards is he's used to fighting guys with this style. He's fought wrestlers coming up. Look what he did to Usman. Everyone's going, oh, Usman's knees. I'm sorry. Did you not watch his fight against Khamzat Chimaev?
Yeah.
His knees, despite them being destroyed, he can still wrestle. He can still pressure. Usman was way bigger than Colby Covington, and Leon was able to throw him around at times, right? He didn't allow Usman to bully him, especially in that second fight. And even in that first fight back in the day, you saw that the strength was matched there. So I think Leon is going to be bigger. He's going to be as strong, and I don't think Colby's going to be able to ragdoll him as easy as he was with other guys. Leon does more damage in his shots, right? Like, look at the last fight with Usman in the pocket. That left, right to the body, left to the head, step back, elbow, gets right back in the pocket. Colby doesn't have combos like that. He just doesn't. He's got good dirty boxing in the pocket, but he doesn't have those flashy kickboxing combos. So I actually think if this goes the distance, everyone's like, oh, it's going to be Colby if it goes this. I can see if this goes this, Colby wins at least 2 rounds. Or 2 rounds maximum, I should say. But I think Leon is going to win this fight doing more damage at the end of the day. I think both of their cardio is going to last. Maybe Colby wins the 5th because Leon's a little bit more tired, but pressure up against the cage, Leon, he prepared for that in his last fight with Usman. Usman hits harder. Usman's stronger. Usman may not have had the cardio that of a Colby had, but when Leon rips him up with a few elbows in the pocket, we'll see. We'll see. So I think actually this goes the distance, and Leon Edwards wins a decision.
It's funny you say that, because I don't have a whole lot. I'm excited for this fight. I was excited prior to the press conference, then the press conference. Yeah. Now I'm like, fuck, there's shit's getting personal now. I like that Edwards has the height and reach advantage in this one. I actually, one of my plays here written down is Edwards by decision. I do see this one going the distance. Again, slow start, championship rounds. They like to feel it out the first 1 or 2. And I see this getting up against the cage, a lot of wrestling, a lot of hugging. And ultimately, Edwards by decision.
Colby couldn't take Usman to the ground. Leon did.
Yeah, we talked about that on our show on Thursday. Leon by decision at plus 150. So I'm definitely getting there. Yeah. And I said it too. His whole game is really defensive. He's going to be the guy with the reach advantage, longer striker, the better technical striker, and he's got enough takedown defense to, stop everything Kobe's going to do. I know Kobe's going to try 10 or 15 times, but he's going to defend, most of them. So
I'm scared of the knee. Leon might crack him with a knee, dude. If I'm Colby's Camden corner, it's watch those knees on the entry because he's big and he's lanky, right?
That Leon might bring the water bottle in the ring. Who knows?
Watch him walk out with Diaz, and Diaz just throwing the Diaz belly, just chucking water bottles in the audience.
Hilarious.
Nice.
Barney here in the chat, he says Royval Pantoja start round 3 minus 115. I like that. Nice Barney.
Yeah.
Another way to get there. I like that out of our guy Barney as well. And boys, that's going to do it. We got through this card here. Let's give a recap of the official plays that we're on, and let's get this thing going here. We got just a few more hours until we get to this big main event. We'll start. Dylan, what do you got? What are the officials you want to break them down with?
Let's go back on my list here. First one is going to be Shamil Gaziev at plus 115. Lucas Almeida at plus 140, and then the parlay Tagir Ulanbekov, Dustin Jacoby. Those are the first two. Ariana Lipsky money line I'm also on. And then the next two legs were Bryce Mitchell and Shavkat inside the distance for that 4-legger. I'm also on Brian Kelleher, both the women's dogs. Leon by decision. Co-main event fight ends in round 3, 4, 5 at 600, 900, and 1200. And then maybe Shavkat round 2 or 3 I might get to it. But as always, I'll put my picks together and I'll post those on Twitter before the fights start here. I'll be doing that after the show. So follow me there and you can find all that in a nice, simple list format.
Love to hear it. Let's go to Aisha here, the City Life Project, man. Tell us, give us them officials and let everybody know what you got going on, where they can find you, and
for sure,
how to get involved with you. First
of all, I want to say, guys, thank you so much for having me on the show. This was awesome. I mean, anytime you need another voice, you need another eyes on this card, like, you know where to find me. And I'll send an extension to you guys who I do prediction videos weekly as well on my channel. And the keys to the castle, I'm gonna hand one each here. There's one for Dylan. There's one for Jeff. There's one for Pimp Slap Pod. The man, the myth, the legend. You guys are more than welcome to jump on my channel. And actually, right after this, I'm jumping over to cover KSW because that's the real best card of the day, boys. KSW. I mean, Parnessa is going to become triple champ, 145 champ, 155, and now he's fighting for the 170 strap. Let's fucking go, ladies and gentlemen. KSW. But
triple, eh?
Oh, dude, it's going to be nuts. I mean, if he gets triple champ, the UFC has to sign him. He's so good. He's so good. But anyways, you guys want to follow KSW, hit up the City Life Project. We cover every single combat sports promotion out there. I mean, we're waiting for Lethway to become legal again, and we're gonna hit that shit up too. But we do fight companions every single weekend. And if you guys want more MMA content, feel free to stop by. But I got Shamil Gaziev, Andre Philly, Ulanbekov, Jacoby, Ariana Lipsky, Cody Garbrandt, Aldana, Bryce Mitchell, Patty Pimblett, Rachmanov, Pantoja, and Leon Rocky Edwards. And I got a little special something for you guys. I do a degenerate parlay of the week that I drop a little Toonie or Looney up here.
Yeah, everyone's excited.
So this is degenerate as fuck. I mean, don't bet your house on this. You will be homeless. But if you bet a little something, you might pay off your student loans, guys. Stephen Thompson, Tony Ferguson, Brian Kelleher. Let's go. Degenerate parlay of the week. If that hits, we're all rich, and I'm flying you all out to Minnesota, and we'll all fucking party.
Hell yeah.
That sounds great. We appreciate you coming on and giving us the looks.
Thank you, guys.
A lot of fun hanging out, breaking it down. MMA Jeff, give them the officials. Let them know what you got going on, and let's put a bow on the show, boys.
All right, but my officials are Gaziev. I got him at like I said, plus 140. 2 days ago? Then I tapped him again at plus 110. I think it's down to plus 105 or plus 100 at this point. I got Ulanbekov. I got him at minus 170. Again, getting cute with it. I took it by decision at plus 150. And then I tagged Rachmanov by decision, or I'm sorry, by submission at plus 120. And then I did a parlay with Ulanbekov, Mitchell, and Aldana. That the three of them together was plus 250. So those are my official plays. again, I like touchy-feely. I'm also probably going to jump on Edwards by decision, and then that Royval fight round 3, 4, and 5, as Dylan and I talked about the other night. Those are my officials.
You guys gave me some homework to do here. I'm gonna have to dig in. I do like that Tagir to go decision, and I think I'm gonna have to tell you boys on this opening heavyweight bout to start the rounds off here, 6:45 Eastern. I'm gonna go with Shamil as well. So we'll see how it's gonna go.
On another note, Aisha, can you give that fucking mortgage payment house or the mortgage payment play?
Stephen Thompson, Tony Ferguson, Brian Kelleher.
I'm gonna throw a couple of loonies on that one.
Let's go. And guys, again, if you guys, most of you watching, all the fans here watching, you guys are probably all like combat sports junkies as well. This KSW, I'm telling you, do not skip this KSW card. Even if you missed the first 2 UFC fights, it's like I'm skipping the first few UFC fights if these 2 title fights go the distance. They're unbelievable, man. Adrian Bartosinski versus Saladin Parnasse. You cannot miss that fight. If you are a real combat sports fan, you are watching that fight. This is the fight of the weekend. Like I said, Leon Colby has nothing on this title fight, guys.
Yeah,
this is going to be
Saladin Parnasse.
insane.
I'm gonna actually have to watch that fight,
dude. If he beats Adrian, like he's gonna make history. It's gonna be unbelievable. So guys, don't sleep on KSW. It's one of the best promotions out there. 100%.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Well, a lot of fun.
Thanks so much for coming on, dude. Appreciate it.
Anytime, boys. Anytime.
Lots of fun. Yeah. I can't wait to do it again, boys, here, but they got us a real treat of a banger for a card tonight. So hopefully everybody gets that cash, has more winning tickets as a result of today. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Show the support for the boys out here doing
you like Don Cherry, boys. Like the video.
Dylan, thanks for having us on, man.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you for being here with me.
Appreciate it, fellas. Let's get that.
Aisha, I'm probably gonna jump on your fucking your next stream here.
Let's go. Yeah, I gotta get to work, boys.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.